Hello, everyone. So, today I'm talking about understanding that this is not your generation. So, one thing I've come to notice is that some people are too rushed in life. Like, you just want to see everything work out right now, and it's not going to happen like that. Yeah. And that's something that most people have come to know but can't understand in the long run. It's like when things just go sour, you freak out, you start, complaining, you compare yourself too much and all that stuff. So you start looking at other people who've made it in life and you look at yourself. It's like so many things are not yet in place and something like that. And today I just thought I'd put together a conversation that talks about knowing when is the right time and understanding when things just don't work out. I'm not saying you have to be relaxed in life and just take things like, if this is not my year, it's going to work out next year or it's going to work out 10 years from now. I want you to understand that when things are not all right, it's not like by understanding that things are not all right, you make things better. It's not like that. But when you understand that things are just not okay, you simply mean to say you're leaving room to reality and how it functions. So if you find yourself stressing about things that are not just going all right at a particular time, or things that just seem like they're just going to work out at a later stage, right? Because we're not in control of our reality. So definitely certain plans are just not going to fall in place at, there and then. So what I'm here to talk about today is just understanding that this is not your generation. You get, right? So there's a time when Bill Gates was not known. There's a time when Mark Zuckerberg was not known. There's a time when Elon Musk was never known. But we celebrate them today. We celebrate the things they've done today because now is their generation. It's like they fought so hard to get to this particular time. Even in Zambia, like even in Africa, even everywhere else you ever go, there was a time when Dangote was never known. There was a time when Chef 187 was never known. There's a time when just somebody that you think is doing amazing right now was never known. Like it wasn't their time as well. There's a time when they stressed so much into that stuff. But then today I just want to like encourage you to just like be patient and know when the time is right. So the things I'm going to talk about today are mostly just, being composed and just being patient and, letting reality function in a proper way and just realizing that you can't control how reality works because you exist in a deterministic world. So the thing that you have to remember is that when you feel way too low in your life, like that moment when you're broke and you see your friend buy a Mercedes Benz, or you see the other friend that you were with in university build a house or have a good job or something like that, and you're trying so hard to make things work, you have to first of all realize that your paths in life are way too different. Like they might have been through a lot of things that you haven't been through, that they at this particular moment have certain things figured out before yours are, or before you have figured out your situations. The things that we have to learn in life that most people learned at a very early age. So as you grow up, it's important to understand that you have to discover yourself in a space of business, in a space of realization, in a space of relationships, in a space of even just acquaintances and just how you meet and associate with people. A human being is a whole diverse being that has to adapt to situations, realize certain things and learn certain things and become a particular capability in some way. So when you find yourself stressing about what other people have, fall back to yourself and just look at yourself and look way to the past and see where you've come from, how far and how much you've done. There are times when we admire people who haven't done anything compared to just how much we've done. And just because our reality hasn't struck to the way we want it to be doesn't mean you never make it in life. Yeah. So it's important to just understand that, particularly just be like, know who you are, know where you are, know how far you've come, and just look at the things you've achieved. Whether yes or no you've lost them doesn't mean you've lost everything. Growth is not linear. It's like it's just gonna go up and down a bit. You learn a few things, you go up, you go down a little bit, you learn a few things, just like that. So remember that in your process to growth, there are gonna be times when you just like feel like you have to come down a bit. And number two, the second thing I want to know is that people won't keep track of how far you've come the way you have to keep track of your reality. And this is just for a fact. People look at you and judge you for your mistakes, and they want to see you productive and prosperous and all that, and they don't want to see you go down a little bit. That's just one funny thing. Even though some people will tell you what I'm saying right now, but if you follow up on their daily conversations and how they look at you, how they judge you and all that stuff, you notice that people lean so much on wanting to reward simplicity but expect hard work, so it's like, if you're growing up in life, or you have friends and you're doing certain things in your life, most people will come to you and be sad about your unfortunate circumstances and be happy about your positive. But rarely will you find a human being who's like happy in both. Like, imagine if you invest the 50,000 in a business, and then it fails, and the money just goes to waste. Less people will come and appreciate you for making an attempt. A lot of people will come and be sad about you losing the money. But then the reality to it is that the more you do and undergo such unfortunate situations and circumstances, the more you learn and become. And it's a whole process that makes you more human, because if those things don't happen, it's very rare that you learn the tangible things about reality. And when you grow up and you make these mistakes, they're going to strike you so bad because you have no time to fix them. And the third thing I want to talk about is be appreciative of the negative situations. The negative, I don't mean, when you lose someone, you just be happy about it. No, I mean, the negative is anything that seems controversial to how you've planned your reality or your life. So if you plan your life to say 2 years from now, I should have a very stable company, be appreciative if you get to the 2 years and then nothing works out. It's not like you've lost everything that you've done, you've learned more. And so the ladder to where you want to be is not just according to how you say it. Otherwise, everybody would have been rich by now. So be in a space where if something happens and goes to the negative, be the person who looks at it and says, what is it that I've collected from all this? The fourth thing I want to talk about is how it all just ends up working out in the end. Not for everybody, but I mean, for people who have the opportunity to try, people who've realized in life that they have to do something and they've become something, and this is who they are. It ends up working out in the end. So take, for example, your interest sits so high on doing accounts, before you get to the accounts, good for you if you realize it at a very early age. But then for most people, like, on the ladder to you just finally firmly knowing that you lean so much on the account system, or you want to do accounts and just be an accountant and something like that, whatever that is, the ladder to that is very discomforting to some extent, because then you have to discover yourself and make sure that you sit on that firmly. Otherwise, if it's just something that you think about and want to do, you notice that along the way, you have so many mistakes coming up, and they'll stress you, they'll pressure you, you spend so much money on wrong stuff and that. But then in the end, all these little things just tell you to say, this is not you, this is not you, this is not you, this is not you, until you sit on where you belong. Then you find the peace within yourself, and that will just work out. So ultimately, the whole message I have today is just understand that this is not your generation. The fact that we have technology now doesn't mean everybody has to have it work around them just now. For certain people, the more technology grows, the more it powers up to your opportunity in the future. So just be there and just focus on what you're doing and be there. Just keep up. The most important thing is you realize that maybe now is not the time. Later is my time. So when you come back to reality, the things you're going to do are, you're going to pay more attention to detail and what's happening now, rather than being idealistic about the future. So if you say, I want to have 50 houses for rent, you're just going to sit and stress about, how am I going to get the 50 houses? How am I going to get the 50 houses? You're going to sit and think about how you're going to just buy the first bag of cement now. You get, it's about laying it slowly and gradually, but consistently. And this is just something about, success. I think for most, it's just being, and then being consistent. Your habits, your mindset have to be so firm and positive as much. So just come back to reality and look at what's happening now, except you can have your goal in the end and just look at it like that. But then don't stress so much about the goal, the end goal. Your generation is not now. Now is the time to work. Now is the time to put things together. And just one more thing, food for thought. Notice how most people don't really realize this. As a youth, your goal is to spend so much money in your early age, like in your 20s, spend so much money clearing out expenses. Clear out the possibility of getting loans, clear that out, or create a possibility of not stressing about you paying back a loan. That means investing, and clear out the idea of, having stuff like rent and stuff like that. If you can spend so much time, ultimately, if you can spend so much time in your youth, in your 20s, clearing out all these things, you notice that when you get into your 30s, you have all the room to just focus on a business and invest in it properly and grow it until your life begins at 40. But then the thing that most youths do is that in our 20s, we want to be luxurious. We want to spend all these things. It's okay if you can be luxurious. I'm not saying you shouldn't. But I'm saying it's important to study your line, just personally, where you headed. However that person is spending their own wealth, don't let the peer pressure get to you and you start now ignoring your future and do your ideas and stuff and just say, you know what, I think instead of getting those 2 cars, I can put them on the station for business. Let me just get a Mercedes Benz so I can look cool with my friends. You get, that's the problem. So I'm saying, if you know yourself and you know you have so many investments to make, don't fall for the peer pressure. You can have friends, but please just have your own self thinking. Like, just sit back and say, I have 20 goals that I have to meet, or I have 2 goals in life that I have to meet first. Then I can go to the luxurious life. If you have 20 flats for rent and you make about 200,000 every month, why not get a Mercedes Benz? It's an easy to get, yeah. But then if you have the idea and you're trying to work on the possibility of getting the 20 flats for rent, you can start taking detours from that one is a problem. Again, your generation is not now, it's in the future. For now, you invest, you build the house, and then you stay in it later. So yeah, that's pretty much it for now. Focus, know that this is not your generation, be calm about it, have your sharp goals, and set a target and just aim for it and start moving. Whatever comes along the way, make sure that you're very conversational within yourself and you're very deliberate about actions that you take. Focus. Don't let people judging you negatively about your mistakes every day take you out of your ideas and you start acting based on what people say, because people are just going to say everything. It's how they see you versus what you are becoming. When somebody looks at you and says, you couldn't have invested the 50,000 in a business that wasn't going to work, what they're simply telling you is something that happened. You get, they didn't stop the idea. And whether yes or no it happened, you have learned and you've become something better at the end of it. The next time when such a thing approaches you, it won't happen because you've been through that now. That's how people learn. And this is just something out of nowhere. Just the whole, paradox about parents. Parents will want you to be who you have to be, but then at the same time control what you have to become. You get, like, I want you to be proud of yourself. I want you to be, firm about your decisions. I want you to be a man and do all that stuff. But at the end of the day, they dictate what your decisions are. You get, right? So it ends up messing you up when you get to the reality itself of life. When you walk out to the house and you see how the world functions. So yeah, understand this is not your generation and pay attention to what you're doing. Don't let people make you take detours from what you're doing. And in the end, it's just about how deterministic the world is. So yes or no, when you sit and make plans, remember to walk straight and just understand that this is not your generation. Work on things that will make you proud, not things that will make people see you to be a good guy now or a good girl now. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, like, and share, and let's keep learning together.